Let's get underway with our matchup between FaZe Clan and OXG. Starting on Bank. Oxygen, by virtue of beginning this map on defense, they're going to be banning first and last, so we'll see what trouble they can get up to. Maybe throw in an odd ban to try to catch FaZe sleeping.
Some funky bans, maybe. We'll see. Oh, Thatcher. I mean, that's pretty standard.
That's as funky as it comes, right?
I will say for Oxygen, it might be nice to start on defense to kind of figure out like what's gonna go on, implement hopes into the game on an official stage match here, and then trying to take it from there. And of course, FaZe Clan, they're in the attack, but I think they're fully capable and fully confident in their abilities.
Absolutely. Next ban coming up after this is a Hibana. All right, so I said, are we going to see anything a little bit different? The answer is no. It's a pretty resounding no. You've got Hibana up as well. This is a conversation that's happened since Bank was in the map pool, trying to defend down below. This was back when Maverick had actually just been released. This was before Ace, but trying to defend that bottom floor bomb site with the Hibana on the board is a major headache.
It's very difficult, but of course we do have the Heartbeats gadget. We call it the can opener, or I call it that. So maybe we can see some buck with the Heartbeats gadget to get those hatches, to get the vertical play, and therefore kind of replace the Hibana being away from the board. Of course, we see the Valkyrie ban coming out, followed by the Mirror. So I would say a very, very standard game of Rainbow Six Siege.
Literally the most banned operators that you would come to expect on this map. So nothing has really changed here. I think the point that you made about getting hopes to settle in will be an interesting one. They've already put him on the Vigil to start with their 6th pick potential here. So maybe you just have him slot in. The rest of the team will play to their standard roles. Maybe have him pick up some of the weight that's going to need to be carried with FaZe not here, especially in a position of leadership, and hopes will flourish in that role. Being that manager / coach, he's going to know the ins and outs of it. A Kaid is going to come out for this bottom floor, so those hatches will be a little bit trickier. There's no Hibana and no Thatcher as well, but that's okay. FaZe has brought cameraman on the Mav, so that will be quite deftly handled.
Certainly. I think it's pretty standard to go into the Kaid with the Hibana and the Thatcher ban, of course. As you said, cameraman on that Maverick will make work of those hatches, but it will ultimately delay time. Bach did get picked up by Cyber, but it did have the flashbang, so we do not see the Heartbeat gadget from him just yet. Curious what Astro is running here to see if maybe, just maybe, we'll get them out.
Well, you talked about leaving the Nomad up, and they do indeed keep it, but not going to be showing off just yet. Instead, if you want any of that anti-flank that's going to come out, that is a spot is going to be occupied by none other than Astro on the Zero. Sam Fisher, for those of you that watch. And some teams will run the Zero and the Nomad almost interchangeably. We tend to see it a lot on a map like Chalet, and it'll be interesting to see its application here on Bank. Wasting no time whatsoever. If you want to tackle the bottom floor, you have to clear out that middle floor first, and that's exactly what FaZe is going to do. 2 can openers in the hands of Astro. He's my Super Astro, by the way, so you were correct talking about those can openers being available.
Yeah, I think it's a great choice here. You know, you get the flashbangs on Bach, you still get the can opener on Astro here, and of course, Astro can hold down the flanks. You got the cameras. It's not quite the Nomad charge, but it will do the same trick, the same job. It is essentially just map control and map presence.
Tons of hard breach potential too. Look at that. You've got Maverick, you've got Thermite, you've got 2 can openers, and that's a secondary gadget that tends to get slept on quite a lot.
They did get buffed. There's now 2 charges per, but as you see there, Laxing doing what he does best in that elevator park. That is an iconic first kill, but gets traded back out by Astro. It's a 1-for-1 trade, 4 versus 4 left on the board, but Oxygen, they want more.
And Astro could be lined up for it. Yaga almost tempting that engagement, but he thinks otherwise. Vertical still roaming, and this map control for OXG on that first floor is strong. FaZe need to pick them off. Laxing likes to play on his own. This was a question that you and I had. Down goes Vertical, and it's the Thermite fragging well. So FaZe takes a lead here in the numbers, and they also managed to get some of those hatches open up on the main floor.
Yeah, FaZe doing great work finding both the map control, the breaching, and the kills. And of course, iconic was Laxing that elevator, but Soul's playing Thermite, getting a frag in the opening round is also crucial. He is basically the Brid of Latim. He does the planting, the clutching, the killing, but he also plays a support / heartbreach role, and he does a phenomenal job at it every single time.
Understanding that they're at a deficit now with just a little bit over a minute to go here in the first round. OXG playing aggressively off of these hatches. FaZe know what they need to do, and they can drop whenever they'd like. Still opening up this main floor. That's exactly what needs to happen, but maybe a bit of a brief pause. Kino has not been flushed out of blue stairs yet. Instead, he'll take the engagement, heading up. He hears the gunfire and knows there's one around the corner. Flashed out, he'll retreat. Souls takes down Hopes, and Kino has no chance. Cyber a nice kill, leaving Yaga alone. OXG finds himself as in a 1v4. a relatively hopeless situation, and it doesn't get any better. Cyber, the final kill of the round, and FaZe take the first.
Hopeless, it did look a little bit there, Parker, as you said. We had the early aggression from OXG with the roam, it got shut down, and then we have this awkward Kino's aggressive on the server stairs, but you also have the Rooney deep on the side, kind of vibing. You don't have a smoke to another plant, so your win condition's kind of up in the air. Are you playing for the bomb site deny? Are you playing for the roam game? They didn't really fully commit to either one.
Yeah. Laxing in particular, like we said, on his own, this was textbook Laxing, and it was a question that needed to be answered, and it still might change. I highly doubt, now that he's six-picking onto the Echo Nick, that he's going to be roaming all that aggressively. But, I mean, was it not your team that had a semi-roaming Echo in what was dubbed Kanto spot, playing by the double panels upstairs by the elevators? So, who knows? And that's exactly the bomb site that Oxygen is going to go to up top on the main floor.
Yeah, I mean, the Kanto spot, that's where Yaga is reinforcing right now, is quite a phenomenal one. You should typically play there with like a 1.5x or a 2-point scope. You can sit there with a shield facing towards the long hallway, towards stock and top square, and you're pretty comfortable there. A great spot for Echo, great for the gun, great for the gadget. You can get some information and play off that information. You only do have one shield, though, from the side of Oxygen, so you don't have a whole lot of cover.
Let's see where Yaga puts it. Still in the pocket as sight setup is going on. This is where the changes to bank might be coming in a little handy, but we'll see. There wasn't a ton of things that were moved around here.
Attacker's objective is to locate
No, it plays out pretty much the same. Typically, you have the option of going on the top square side and attacking that side, or you can go on the lobby side. Of course, FaZe is bringing the box, so you could even argue they have a third option, doing some vertical play from down below, which we all love to see, and maybe making work of that window repels on the side.
There's one of the changes as well being shown off is just that very narrow alleyway that leads towards the back of the bank, so you can get from the front to the back without having to cross the entire map. Just a bit of a convenience for the attackers. FaZe favoring the same lineup that they brought before, no changes to it whatsoever. Tons of hard breach potential, explosives in tow, and that very first SAM cam, or the Argus as it's officially known as, gets some pretty crucial intel playing over by Banana that a single player of OXG is lurking in that spot.
Yeah, this is great. The nice thing about the Argus camera is that you can put them in positions where the drones typically cannot get, and if they do end up there, it's a lot of trouble, it takes up a lot of time. You whip out the gadget, you shoot the gun, and all of a sudden you get great information. Get some chip damage on the Yogg, he swings out and gets some information, but also takes some health. He'll be fine.
You trade about 30% of your HP for some knowledge that somebody's out on that rappel, something you already knew. The other thing, too, with those Argus is that, well, the open area of bank, lobby as it's called, not to be confused with the actual call-out called open area, but the lobby of bank is huge. And I mean, it doesn't matter what level you play at, if there's a black eye cam, if there is some kind of drone left there, there's a lot of spots where you can hide it, and that intel is so critical.
It's very hard to find. It's one of the reasons why the Valkyrie gets banned so much. The open area and of course the lobby as well, but they're planting all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Hold on a second here, and Astro's just in, killing them all. He goes down to Yaga, Hopes falls as well. Diffuser successful, and FaZe and the post plant are marvelous. Everybody dying, and Laxing is nowhere near the site to be able to influence this at all. A 1v4, identical to what they saw in the previous round. He'll go toe-to-toe with the Buck. A great shot, but there's 3 more to find, and you know how pesky these post plants can be, especially when you're out on rappel like Souls is. 2-0 for FaZe.
It is so incredibly difficult to win that post plant. Once the bomb goes down successfully, you got those window repels, the breach, you got so many angles to worry about. They could even go down below and make use of that Bok vertical play. And this is the thing, FaZe, they play a, let's say, quote-unquote European approach to Siege, but with that LATAM explosiveness. If they see an opportunity, if they want to stray off the plan and just execute out of nowhere, they will go for it. We've seen it before in Clubhouse against Team 1 in the Copa D Elite, and we've seen it now against Oxygen on Bank.
They kept the Buck up in square as well, right? So they could have put him down
had the
below.
opportunity, yeah.
Absolutely, and there was so much time left. That diffuser started to get planted when there were still all 10 players up in the server, and it's really remarkable to think with the intel that OXG had that they weren't aware of that diffuser being planted. Now, there was some smoke applied over by the desk in the rear panel, so maybe there was confusion on OXG's side. And the other thing to note is that just simply bringing in Hopes is going to change the way that this team calls the rounds.
Certainly. There was also the question of you know, what exactly is going on? If FaZe is playing it slow, all of a sudden they just go, you might be thinking, that smoke, it might not really mean anything. It might just be like ADS clear perhaps or something like that. What do you know? All of a sudden they're planting, they're inside, they're finding kills, and the only thing you will hear from the side of Oxygen is, oh my god, something's going on. They're planting, we're dying, where are they coming from? Because it seemed like FaZe was everywhere at the same time.
Well, I mean, they're not really slowing down, and if they're not trying, they're certainly not convincing us of that. So they look like they're out for blood, and I mean, if it's like the first two matches, our debut here might be a little bit short-lived, so we'll see.
I don't want to say anything about North America, Parker, but we're having a rough beginning here. However, one thing to note, Hopes this time is sticking the vigil, not going to the Kaid, so perhaps this time they are convincingly sticking to that roam game and holding their ground.
The jig is up, though. Obviously, that cloaking going off inside of open area. Astro has
This
him.
camera. Beautiful.
Really nicely done. The drone positioned by the books, and Hopes will go back on, but then obscured for a second. Over by the printer window is where Astro will lay outside. He can tempt an engagement with Hopes should he want. The bomb site, for those that can't see, is down below. This was long known as the most defendable bomb site, but as the meta in Bank shifted over the years, I think it's safe to say that the most defendable bomb site became the top floor, and then very quickly followed by tellers down below. Cameraman has made his way inside of the lobby, confronting that castle barricade on double panel, and then the reinforcement over by office as well. He's going to now go onto a drone and sit down and wait. Hopes still unable to be flushed out, but he's still on drone, and Bullet will get the very first engagement on vertical.
It seems like Astro is just sitting on this drone waiting for Hopes to rotate away from open air to get inside the building, but as that's going on, Cyber finds a kill to Yogg on the main stairs, and now Hopes in a massive amount of trouble here. Gotta fight multiple angles as they're making their way to open area.
Laxing was doing his best to keep his team in tow. Hopes looks the wrong way, thinking he's down by Printer. He's by window. Astro and Easy confirm, and then Kino's down too.
Is it 1v4 again, Parker? Is that it? Another 1v4?
That seems to be the story, Nick, doesn't it?
Yep.
The top of your screen will say 2v4 or 4v2, but it's the other way around. Laxing manages to do something, though, so a 1v4 won't happen. It was a 1v3 with him in the same position in the previous round. I'm starting to sense a pattern.
There could be a bit of hope in this round though, Parker. Look at Astro's health, Bullet almost halfway down as well. Souls, however, pretty healthy here. I imagine FaZe will slow down a bit, gather up their spirits, figure out where Laxing is and what he's doing, and then go for an execute.
I admire your optimism, Nick, but I don't know what Laxing is going to be capable of doing when there's still a minute left and so much utility for FaZe. And they're going to open up that hatch leading into server. Down Bullet goes into blue, being droned out quite effectively. The back of Laxing will be exposed, but he's being watched by that bulletproof camera, and a pre-fire over towards server doesn't find anything. On the run now, playing under this hatch with a laser gate for some added insurance. I don't know about the Roni there in that position. Astro manages to find him and tag him. Down he goes inside a red. 3-0 for FaZe Clan, and the point I was going to make about the Roni is that you don't have a lot of bullets in that magazine.
You don't have a lot of bullets. As a smoke main, I feel the pain. You know, that is the lowest amount of ammo capacity SMG in the game, sitting on 16. Laxing in that situation would have to find the 1 versus 1s. FaZe Clan doing a great job going together. All 3 people in server didn't even put a guy on the hatch. They wanted all the guns in the same direction to make sure that if Laxing were to swing, they would have comrades there to get the refrag of the trade.
I think the scoreboard right on your screen tells a pretty convincing story.
Laxing is doing his job though. He's up top.
I mean, he is, but what do you do at this point? And the knock-on effect of losing a player like FaZe is that, yeah, Laxing plays on his own, and we pointed this out, largely aided by his own game sense and good mechanical ability. So for those that watch the NAL quite religiously, you'll know that Laxing tends to take up a lot of, pardon the pun, oxygen when discussing this team because he makes the flashy plays. And he's an integral component of the team. But Vertical has been the standout performer for OXG in the past stage. He is quiet right now. He hasn't been successful and has actually lost the 2 heads-up gun duels that he was engaged in. You can speak from experience when you say that engaging in heads-up gun duels against Brazilian teams
it's hard.
Is very challenging.
It's very hard, especially if you don't have, you know, the massive amount of experience against them. FaZe Clan, you know, it's a team that we've seen so many times in international events, but they've always fallen a bit short. I'm very curious to see how they'll do this tournament. And speaking of Oxygen, I kind of wish they put Hopes on like an Echo to just do the dirty duty of just finding information, communicating that to his team, and let other people do the fragging on the gunfighting.
I think the one argument that you could say against that, though, is that you don't want to upend the entire team chemistry, right?
You don't, right? You don't want to change up too many things in this wheel. Hopes does have a shield in his pocket, it seems like, so I'm not sure what that's about, but maybe they have a spare one for a situation that might be unfolding here.
I don't know. Laxing, has he gone droned out in the corner? The drone is facing the other way, over towards Paper, and Cyber might have a bit of a blind spot. He's too focused on the Aruni. There goes Laxing! huge two-piece, and he'll head for the hills. Camera should be able to catch him, but some damage done, and there you go. A bit of obstruction, but ultimately FaZe gets the refrag on that one. Huge play from Laxing, but there go all but one of your kills so far in this game.
It's very true, and you actually spoke about this change to the map earlier, Parker, with that route from back alley into the main lobby side, and that's actually how Souls managed to find Laxing as he was running away, cutting off that angle. And yeah, it's your Astro off the board, you lose a lot of information game, and you lose the vertical play. And this bomb site, Parker, that's the vertical play. They're trying to take top floor, work their way from above and down, and now that's no longer an option for them.
Souls with 4 kills. He was one of the players that you highlighted earlier in the match about how he does it all. The Playday, as you said, of Latin America. And Souls has actually been around for quite a while, and it's nice to see him flourish on this team. FaZe in particular, the team never really living up to the billing, and so many times winning and saluting a nice throw from Bullet, takes out vertical, he's blown sky high. That was another player to watch. But OXG are struggling in this one. They're on one of the best maps for FaZe, one of the best maps for all of Brazil, in fact. Shield's been deployed by Hopes, so there's a barricade, and he's actually got 2, so his flank being watched.
I mean, that was arguably the most explosive performance from Vertical right there. That was the nade blowing him to pieces, but Bullet finds an injury onto Hopes. He got caught off guard, unfortunately, and he might be joining Vertical on that 0-4 scoreline. I really hope they start getting going for them, Parker, because the time is running out for them. Oxygen might be looking at a 4-0 soon unless they can clutch it out. Hopes did get revived, so it's a 3 versus 3.
The shield by the door now taken out, blown open area. Hopes does not have the same defense behind him. Bullet finds a 3rd kill. This is a huge round for him. What little was left of Hopes is now gone. Hopeless, would you call it? Yaga creeping up the stairs. He's got the DMR in hand, falls cameraman. Still looking at position and pre-firing around the bomb chassis, but Souls is very well protected. Why not? He's already got a kill in this round. Might as well get some extra points, pad those stats. Yaga knows he's in a retake, but Bullet's watching him. Down he goes, and FaZe are up 4-0.
You can make fun of Oxygen all you want, Parker, but that was a 3 versus 1. They're improving round by round. They're slowly getting to the 3v1, the 2v1, the 1v1, and eventually, maybe on the final round, they will pull a Dark Zero and make it a 7-1 rather than a 7-0.
That's the real question here for NA fans. We can take the piss quite easily here with them. Will a team playing with their coach from North America perform better than Dark Zero did in the match before? Who knows? That's the real question.
Yeah, and as you said, that was also on Bang, so maybe North American Bang, as you said, Parker, maybe they're just not the match that you want to have. Of course, you can't play every single map, but the question comes, if Bang isn't your flavor, why is it on the menu?
I'm not entirely certain. At this point, I think OXG, going back to CEO, I mean, their site rotation has
They're trying everything, Parker. Yeah. They really are. They want to figure out something. And they're saying, that's not working, that's not working. And every single time they played basement twice, for example, they did a different style of basement roam both times. The first time was 50-50. The other time was a full roam commit. So I'm sure they have ideas. Now they bought the Warden out for the smoke grenade. So Hopes might just be the player to watch this round if the execute comes out from FaZe the same way as before.
I mean, it's so easy to talk so much about Hopes here, and our focus has been so firmly on Oxygen because obviously the circumstances under which they're playing need to be discussed and really highlighted. You know, FaZe Clan is showing up as we expect, and, well, they're the FaZe Clan that won Copa Elite. They're the FaZe Clan that finished 2nd place in the most recent stage of BR6. This is the strong performance that we're expecting out of them.
Yeah, they were very aggressive and kind of unstructured team in the past, but since Cameraman joined, I believe in March of this year, he's really been restructuring the internals of the team, and they're now, as I mentioned earlier, in this like European-ish approach to the game with the structure and execution, but with that Latin explosive twist that we love to see.
Obviously, interesting to say Cameraman rejoining, because you and I remember the fun days of when he was on that old roster, way back, Font and onwards, getting reunited with Astro, so... Well, this is round number 5. Things looking grim for Oxygen at the moment. Cyber inside of Archives, and he'll go on to drone work. They've stashed them all throughout the map. FaZe have been doing an exemplary job of putting their drones in sneaky positions, and OXG seems to be simply under watch at all times. They have no idea where this intel is, and it is costing them and hurting them hard in most of these gunfights.
Yeah, OXG is not really extending out the map. As you see, they're pretty much all on site or maybe a room away at most, meaning that FaZe can get so much control in such little time, giving them everything they need to set up how they want to execute this round.
I don't even know if FaZe really cares about the roam from OXG, because the first couple rounds, if you recall, FaZe were very quick to get into the building and begin taking that map control away. In this instance, the first joust might come down to Hopes, as he's playing over by Stock. He's got that long angle towards square stairs, and they'll send an army of drones at him, but he will fall off. Has to be wary of the skylight above him on those stairs because you can be gunned down if somebody is in that position. With 90 seconds left in the round, it's not a guarantee that everybody's moved off. There could still be somebody up there watching.
Oh, Laxing doing the 90 thing again in the elevator. Using those ignorance and lobby we spoke about earlier, a massive room. It's hard to find them, especially since you're not playing the IQ, which is so hard to fit in your lineup. But FaZe closing on side.
And there's an Argus that's going to go in to take care of this Moon Jammer. That's going to give you safe passage towards the double panel. And out it will go, blowing all the debris wide open into that CEO office. This is a spot that FaZe favored on their previous take. A minute to go for them to be able to pull off a defuse. Souls will be the one to try to get that. And we'll see what the coverage is from FaZe. The good news for OXG is that you haven't really lost anything at this point. Kino almost drops, but that's about it. Yaga engaging in main lobby. He's got the pings, but nobody from FaZe is going to dare him just yet. Still on Repel as, well, there's damage to be done, and now Cyber's just going to jump right in. Do they hear him? Yes or no? Oh, he looks away at the wrong moment. First kill goes to Vertical, but then FaZe's guns come alive. He's down to just a tiny bit of HP, Vertical is, and there's, well, firing back from OXG. Vertical still fragging well. It's a 2v2. This is the most winnable round for OXG just yet. Is there hope for them to be able to pull this one off? Inside of the bomb site, down goes Yaga, and Vertical soon follows. The hope dashed, and it's 5-0 for FaZe.
We are closing in. It's looking better and better, Park, but they need a little bit more. They had the right idea. They wanted to get rid of Astro inside of ATM to pressure those Rappo players onto side, and they did actually find the kill, but it was too little too late as FaZe Clan were basically executing onto side when that same thing happened. Cyber dropping down the skylight, initiating the push. FaZe from all angles, the breach, the rappels, the skylight, really crushed Oxygen in this round.
Cyber in particular getting the attention with that drop. Sound and comms then start to go. Yep. Somebody dropped Skylight, you have to turn and try to pivot. And yet despite that, Oxygen were still able to hit their marks, keeping it very close. And that was, despite the scoreline, that was the most winnable round that we've seen from Oxygen thus far. Final defense for OXG. They're not going to take a timeout. I'd be very surprised. Their coach that they have here is actually playing in the game. And the site rotation remains relatively static.
I don't think you want to take a timeout if you're Oxygen per se. Maybe if you go on to attack on the side swap, you want to take, guys, let's freshen up, talk about, do we just go for it? Do we just do our best? Like, do we follow the paper? Do we go off it? This time, it's not going to be a roaming strat for Oxygen, it looks like. It'll be a turtle. They got the smoke this time. They got the Wamai to help cover them from the grenades. And they have, well, a single C4, so it's not the most amount of bomb site plant deny, but we got a little bit.
It is a bit surprising to see the way now with all the operators that have come in since Bank was a staple of the map pool. I fondly remember the days of 2, 3, 4 C4s being brought on this bomb site because the rhythm of CCTV was such that you want to get somebody in, you want them to try to plant by the door, maybe a Monty's being used, maybe smokes, you've got some coverage with one of the panels opened up, but no, that's not the case. You also saw one of the other changes made to Bank just now in that back portion of well, I guess technically you call it the bomb site by elevators, which allows the attackers a bit more flexibility and also the defenders to play off of it too.
Oxygen going to do a pretty basic server stairs hold with both the Wamai discs and the ADSs. That's going to be a crucial part of this round, especially seeing as it's Kino and the smoke playing there, meaning that if he falls, it's the smoke's gone and they get complete server control essentially. So FaZe Clan will have to challenge eventually in this round, but they'll take their time and check the elevator as they have against Laxing, because it's been there a couple of times already. Nothing crazy going on so far, but FaZe Clan doing good work of the droning and the map control, and only in a minute into the round, they seem to have everything that they want.
There's a grenade that goes off on the stairs as well, but nothing found for it. This lineup from FaZe remaining static for the entirety of this half. They favor it, and well, it's been working out quite successfully. 5-0 for them. Kino still trying to find that very first kill, and there goes the hatch, just leading over top of red. 1 of 2 inside of open area. The other one is going to go now, technically not an open area, but close enough. A thermite being placed ever so gingerly by Souls, and Kino with what essentially is a barricade inside of blue. He's got a shield, he had the laser gate, he had all the discs and the ADSs, and well,
Soul's doing a good job playing on that Kite Claw, making sure that he's not getting tricked out, so putting it down, putting it back up, and Vertical with the opening kill against Astro. That's going to help them a bit as Oxygen are, there's still a lot of time left in the round. They need to find some wiggle room, find some kills, get more guns on the map than the phase of FaZe Clan.
Amazingly, this first half now being finished in terms of opening duels. Oxygen took 4 of the 6 opening duels, but they lose it through the mid to late round, and it's just FaZe is too formidable. Down goes Hopes. That first half will go without him securing a single kill. Kino tossing out smokes. He's playing to die essentially in this spot, and down he goes. Cyber just tussling around the deployable shield. That leaves the final 2 members of OXG inside of the bomb site, and Vertical knows what he needs to do. He and Yaga both 3 kills apiece. Pivoting and watching, Argus Cam goes, and Vertical will now watch that same hatch. Yaga lined up at the doorway. A grenade primed and ready, there it goes. Try to displace somebody from Oxygen, but nobody in that area code. Final 30 seconds for things to continue to blow up. And there it goes. Damage being done to Souls and Bullet now too. OXG hitting their marks, but no, there's a flank from Cyber. How does that go unseen? Vertical will need to shut it down. Bullet with diffuser in hand, but where does Vertical's attention go? He sees the tracers whiz by him, but he's gonna take the engagement, finish off Souls. Diffuser goes down successfully. Vertical chunking some damage, and it's a perfect first half for FaZe as they're up 6-0.
Oh, so close, Parker. For a moment there, I believe, but the back flank from Cyber, I believe they used the Kite Claw on those back hatches, so they assumed it was going to be A-okay and not have to worry about it. But the thing is, FaZe Clan managed to get those hatches open, and Cyber took full advantage. He's been the engager and the flanker throughout this round. First the Skylight drop, now the backside hatch drop, and really setting FaZe up for success, getting the pinch in, the hammer and the anvil. One guy pushing, one guy holding, finding the kills onto side. Doing so beautifully. Side swap.
I was going to say, we side swap, but Bullet, an astounding 10-0 to start this matchup.
Huge.
There is a possibility now that, depending on what happens with the Roamers and OXG's entry, that Bullet could go this entire map without dying. Now, wouldn't that be something to see? I actually couldn't tell you the last time that a player in a major, and this is a stat for you, SiegeGG, if you're listening, I can't remember the last time a player at a major went through a map or match without a single death. So, shout out to Bullet for accomplishing it thus far. Crossing your fingers whether you're a LATAM fan or not, just because it is a neat thing to see.
It certainly is. I'm curious how FaZe is going to play this. They are extending out the reinforcements right now. Typically, we'll see Bullet and Cypher doing a bit of a roam game. They're a very, very lethal duo with a bunch of kills between them, and they love playing together no matter what map they're playing on. So I would imagine we're going to see something similar out from this. Deny some early drones, stop Oxygen from taking what they want in a similar fashion to where Oxygen failed to kind of stop FaZe from taking the map control.
Downstairs to CCTV, this is the most played bomb site thus far. 4 times through the 7 rounds. Well, almost 7 rounds, technically, because this one still has to be played. But 4 of 7 so far for CCTV. Things seem to be coming back to normal. Nature is healing, Nick, when it comes to it.
Nature is healing, yeah. The pulse from FaZe is interesting here. It kind of speaks to that information game with the Valkyrie being banned, and it's a bit more mobile than the Echo is, if you will. See if they can make work of that. Cameraman being in garage, not a lot of information to be found there just yet, but making sure that no one is sneaking in. Laxing.
Oh, okay. Kino's just going to take charge, looking for his very first kill, but he'll be chunked away by Cyber playing inside of Janitor, and Cyber will re-engage.
Look at this aggression, Parker.
In front of him. Oh my goodness, but the Roni has how many bullets? It doesn't matter, sidearm out.
Enough.
Hopes gets his very first kill. Kino on 1 HP, but you've still lost Yaga. You've lost the ace. You've got a hard breacher in Maverick and presumably the can opener for Laxing. So there's still some added insurance for OXG, but that is a pretty devastating loss, especially with Kino on 1 HP.
I mean, imagine if Roni had more bullets, Parker. I mean, it's not like the patch just came out and just nerfed the weapon. Kino being left on 1 point of health, and Cyber almost came out with a fantastic opening for his team, but I would say 1 for 1 is still good.
Does he win that with the Commando? That's the real question.
That is the real question. The Commando does have a pretty nice skin on it. That TSM pilot program skin in store still, I believe, so do check that out if possible.
Oh, we won't be seeing TSM here, sadly. Womp womp. But if you want to see their skin, you can do that. Both FaZe and OXG have skins in the game as well. They were shown off earlier on, the FaZe Clan Valkyrie skin. You've also got the G36C for OXG. Now, that Maverick taking care of the Kaided hatches, the first one inside of Square, that'll be dropping down into server.
Yep.
speaking of Cyber earlier on, you said he was making space as that sledge. It now looks like Vertical's going to be the one doing the same thing for Oxygen as he decides to head through Dirt Tunnel, or escape, however you want to call it.
I mean, it's a great play, and FaZe Clan not really holding servers. They get it for free. Getting this information for Oxygen will save them so much time, because if you thought they're going to be in there, now you know they're not.
Well, FaZe Clan got the first blood, and now they have a numbers advantage as well. Kino is only on 1 HP. He sits at 0 and 7. He has no kills if this round goes in the way of FaZe. Well, you've got a donut still remaining for OXG. FaZe deep inside of the bomb site, and OXG will now have to tussle with the clock as there's 30 seconds left in the round. Down in numbers, but additionally down in terms of time. Grenade sails out, but it goes off a little bit too prematurely, and Astro can't control the recoil of the carbine. So what can he accomplish? Some of the wall opened up, but hopes, and unfortunately for him, not much he can do. Taking down Souls is pretty good, but Vertical's been dropped as well. Guns coming out. Laxing is in the middle of the bomb site. He needs to sprint on by, but with 3 seconds left, he needs 2 kills. They won't do it. It's a 7-0, and Bullet doesn't die once. What a statement match from FaZe, and it's a fast one. NA not off to a great start here so far in Sweden.
They certainly are, and we asked the question, will FaZe Clan give it their all and take it away from Oxygen? Will they go easy on them and give them a bit of a breather? They did not. They